The show is made possible in part by its supporting sponsors: Blue Water Power Group of Companies, Joe's Discount Tire, and AskGuy.ca. This is, you could call this a follow-up interview, if you will, but it's been a few years for the follow-up. But I'm glad to be back meeting up with her, this young lady, Katie Horvath. Thanks so much for your time here today, Katie.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
It has been a few years since we've chatted, I guess, in person, right? Probably, wow. Well, it was pre-COVID. Everything's all either pre or after COVID, right?
Yes. It's like BC or AC.
Right.
Before Christ, but COVID.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And do you remember what you were doing back then, the last time we spoke?
Yeah, I was pretty into politics at that time, interviewing a lot of politicians and doing a lot of work in the community with politics.
Right, and I remember that was a time of election as well for our municipality, and you at least gave the opportunity to everybody who was running, and boy, that takes a lot of time to do that sort of thing, right?
Yes. In that election, there were a lot of candidates.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just kind of interviewing people in the back of a shop downtown with same kind of setup, just the camera and mics, and let's go. Let's make a video.
And how did that? How was that experience of talking to those people about, I guess, not just running for election, but our city?
It was interesting. There was a lot of different personalities, but my main kind of focus was I wanted to know who they were, kind of outside of their politics.
Yeah.
So the coverage that we were kind of getting was, you get your basic talking points and kind of like in general their platform, so to speak, what kind of issues they're running on. But I wanted to know more about them as people. I just kind of found there's a big separation, I guess. I was doing focus groups on campus, and a lot of people were kind of saying it's like a hierarchy. They felt separate, like as if the politicians were above. And
I see.
We were trying to just sort of bridge that gap and just...
They're the kings and we're the peasants?
Yeah, some people felt that way.
Fair enough.
So I just kind of wanted to show the human side and give people an opportunity to speak from that more human level. Right.
And what did you learn from talking to these people? Did you get like as intimate with them as you wanted to, as far as who they were?
I found I just have to try and choose my words carefully here. I think I kind of had a lot more respect for politicians, to be honest, because they go through a lot of harassment, and they go through a lot of
bullets fired.
A lot of bullets fired, and I get it. Politics, people are very passionate about politics, and there's a lot riding on it for a lot of people, right?
Yeah, right.
So I found my eyes were kind of open to how much goes on the other side of kind of what they have to go through in the election, and just if people mishear something, or somebody's misquoted, or something gets taken out of context.
Were you surprised by what you discovered?
Like in what way?
Like, I mean, you just talked a bit about like the side of politics that maybe you didn't see before.
Sort of, but I do think that the internet has a lot to play in,
for sure,
in that, because it's really easy to just hide.
Keyboard cowboy. We call them keyboard cowboys, right?
Yeah. Hide behind your screen and say.
Easy to say behind the screen.
Yeah. But
you moved on from that, and I know before we started the camera, we kind of talked about it. And can you share like how you were affected by doing a political show?
Oh man, still recovering.
Right?
Yeah. There's I just wanted to go into something that spoke more to my heart, really. Politics I was interested in just because it affects people's lives, and
absolutely.
It's a big part of our world. So I was interested to kind of learn more about the behind the scenes and who's behind all of this, and who all the different people are that are involved.
Yeah.
But I found it was pretty stressful. It was like, rather than kind of promoting what you love, a lot of it is just people fighting what they hate. Which I understand. I'm not saying that there shouldn't be advocates. I'm not saying that people shouldn't stand up for what they believe in. But in my heart, I've always been more of a like musician, artist, lover, and just really just kind of went back to my roots, which is art and music.
Yeah. So now you've progressed forward. But before we do, I just one more on the political side of things. Are you still glad that you did that? Did it help, and did it help bring you to where you are now?
I think definitely. I think definitely. Politics is sink or swim. So I cut my teeth in media in Swimming with the Sharks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I talk to musicians and artists all the time, and it's just really happy and positive.
I hear you.
Yeah,
I hear you.
Yeah.
So talk about, it's called Moutpiece, right?
Yeah.
And you're interviewing bands, musicians, individuals, just anything, and then you're talking, you say art too, you're talking like painters and everything too, or is it?
Yeah, so I want to say about 6 or 7 months ago, I was just recording with my cell phone bands playing performances, and I was going under the name called Sarnia Muse. So, muse, something that inspires inspiration, right? So anybody that I found particularly interesting, creative, inspiring, I just make a little video, put it on there, check these guys out. Just I don't know, labor of love, I guess.
Yeah,
love of the scene, love of music. And I got some pretty good feedback. People were like, hey, like I like what you're doing, and it's good. Like there's not a lot of media coverage for music. So I was like, okay. And then I just got like kind of addicted to it. Like I loved it so much, right? So I was making these videos, and then I thought, well, I'm going to take this seriously now. So I rebranded to Moutpiece, which I just like that name.
That's a catchy name. It really is. Moutpiece.
Moutpiece Magazine. Yeah. So then I thought, well, I used to write stories. Like I'm a writer as my
is that right? Okay.
Yeah, I would write articles and just kind of sell them to local magazines, but there was nothing for counterculture really. So that's kind of how it started. So then I rebranded, like I said, to Moutpiece, and now I've got a YouTube channel, so that's more like longer form interviews. I've got the social media, which I do like reels and little graphics and stuff like that. And I released the first full issue. So on mouthpiecemagazine.com, there's a whole issue number 1, came out June 1st, and I'm going to be doing monthly magazines.
So this is good timing that we were talking about it with the timing of launching the Moutpiece Magazine. You actually reached out to me and just said out of the blue, and I always love it when somebody reaches out of the blue, and you just said, boy, Dave, I really appreciate what you do. I'm understanding it a little bit more, and thank you for that, by the way. But the reason I bring that up is to go, what have you learned? What made you go, I need to send David a message?
What made me message you? Well, there's so much behind the scenes work. So from the viewer's perspective, it'll be like, okay, you see a little clip, and you just think, okay, well, the clip was 30 seconds or the clip was 3 minutes. So you just think, okay, that's a 3-minute clip. But you're not seeing the time that goes into it, the editing. And when you're working for yourself, you're the secretary, you're the scheduler, you're the videographer, you're the editor, you're the face, you're the writer, you're everything. So I just thought, wow, I started thinking about you, and you've been doing this in the community for what, 20? How long
well,
have you been doing it for?
The show will be 12 years in November.
12 years, okay. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was a little bit longer, but still, 12 years.
Yeah.
That's
other things before that would connect with it. But 12 years of online.
Yeah, and just in a one-man show. So
pretty much.
Yeah, so I'm trying to create that with art, music, and consciousness. Yeah. But it's the same kind of deal. You're running 6 roles, and also the interviewer.
Right.
Right.
That's right.
So yeah. I just thought, wow, like I had a new. I always thought you were great, but I got into. I'm
going to give her the money after the show.
Yeah. Yes, this is a paid sponsorship now.
Yeah, right.
But when I really started to do it myself and really understand the sheer amount of time that goes into it, I just thought I gotta tell Dave, like I see you, like I see how hard it is now, and good job.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And congratulations on deciding to take that journey, because I mean, digital creation has become so huge, and honestly, I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg on this whole new, media thing. Even though social media has been around for several years, YouTube, about 10-ish, about 15 years. We're still really just getting started with all of this, right? So the timing, I think, for you to do it is great as well. Will you keep this local, or will this be something you'll go like would you go to Toronto and interview a band, or like what are you looking at progressing at here?
So my three kind of pillars, I guess, for content is art, music, and consciousness expansion. So I'm going to, like, kind of what I've been covering lately is local. I love Sarnia. I really do.
Yep.
There's incredible artists here, incredible musicians. So right now I do just want to focus on local, because it's where I'm from, and it's what's happening. And you just see all these incredible people with beautiful hearts and beautiful minds, and they're creating all this great work. And I feel they don't really always get the credit that they deserve. So I guess...
Let me stop you there. Why do you think that is? Why are they not getting the attention they deserve?
I know that art and music, even if you just look at that, like, politically, a lot of the, like, cuts that have happened to, like, art and music education, it's usually, like, the first on the chopping block.
Yeah, right.
I don't really know why or how, but I do think that art and music is, like, one of the most important things for just humans in general, like the art of expression, the art of creation. And maybe because it's hard to make a lot of money off of it, so we don't value it as much in the society, the dominant culture, I guess. But that's a good question, why they don't get the credit that they deserve, but they should.
And why is it hard to make money in that industry, or is it? Why is it any harder to make a living as a musician or an artist than it is to anything else, like, being a firefighter or a doctor or a process operator or a carpenter? Why is it harder?
That's a good question. I don't know. It's just kind of the culture that we're in. It's pretty much based on
the way we look at it. Like
our culture is kind of consumeristic. Consume, make money. Like money is kind of God in the culture these days, right? And art and music is just so pure. It's just so pure, and it's expression. It's spiritual for a lot of people.
Right. And could it be like I don't know, if you were dating a guy, for example, and you brought him home and they go, well, what does he do? And you say, well, he's a musician. They're like, oh, well, so he's got no money.
well, you just said it. Like, I think if the only value, like if something's value is deemed specifically by whether or not it makes money or not, then that's your answer. But there's so much more to life and reality than money. Right. Yeah.
There is.
Yeah.
And be careful, because you get it as a digital content creator too. Are you a YouTuber? Oh, so you're not making any money?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's but that will change. That will change, right? How do you think we can change that about musicians and artists and the people that you're speaking to?
Amplifying their voices. Showing the value. I like to write a lot about, like, what music does to the brain. I studied this. Like, this is part of what I used to study in school. But textbook aside, like I can attest to that in my own life. Like music is transformative. Music has the power to transform.
Right.
And that's valuable and that's therapeutic, and you can connect to the self. It's universal. I've made friends across the world just from putting my music online.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like music's a universal language.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So I think, we have a role to play in that in media, that whoever controls the media controls the mind, right? So if we're putting out these messages that like music and art is important, then I think that can help contribute to its perception.
Right. And what's the third part? You said the conscious, so it's music, art, and
consciousness. Yeah.
Define what you're meaning by that.
Well, philosophers have been debating the exact meaning of consciousness for thousands of years. For me, when I think about consciousness, it's more or less your state of awareness. I think that consciousness exists in all things. Some people call it the soul. Some people call it your state of awareness.
Yep.
Consciousness expansion to me is just kind of the process of opening the mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we really here? Is that all? Is that getting really deep on that subject? Do you
how deep do you want to go?
Right, right. I know.
How deep do you want to go? There's
well,
no
you
limits.
said philosophers have been talking about it for years, right?
But the concept of consciousness has always kind of fascinated me. Like even if you look at scientific studies, and you'll find that if things are being observed, they change. Like if a scientist is doing an experiment and what they're kind of observing is being watched, it changes the way that it acts. So it's almost as if everything has this inherent consciousness. We only think of like humans as being quote unquote consciousness, but there's a consciousness within all things that exist. You can go back into like 60s counterculture movements where they're looking at like psychedelics and LSD and mushrooms and what happens to the mind when you alter the consciousness. But we don't have to go that deep today.
That's okay. I asked for a reason. I'm curious.
Yeah. I just know for sure that music is transformative and it does alter states of consciousness.
We don't even have to know the words of the song, right? If we just hear the music. Like you said, and I just said it, I forget where I was, and I made the same statement. It's a universal language that can really connect us all.
Yeah.
And music is a trigger for memories, like, the first dance, first kiss, loss of a loved one, all those things. That was our song, or, that kind of stuff, right?
Music's older than religion.
Right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I never heard that, but that makes total sense.
Yeah. And everything's got rhythm, like our heartbeat. This is a rhythm. Our circadian rhythm, our sleep and wake cycles. It's all rhythm.
Yeah.
And this is music.
So, where do you see yourself down the road with Moutpiece? Like, you really want to connect with just everybody you possibly can, or is there a certain type of, I guess what I'm saying is there a certain type of musician, is there a certain type of artist that you want to connect with, or is it just everybody?
I wouldn't say there's a certain type per se. I think that art and music, it's just as, what's the word I'm looking for here? Just as unique as the individual that creates it, right? Like you're gonna find a different sound across the board. How people express is always kind of unique, right? I'm interested a lot in people's songwriting process.
Okay.
I'm a writer myself, and songs come to me in all sorts of different ways. Sometimes I just have a melody in my head and I'm like, oh, like I gotta get that out. Other times it'll just be like a random riff will come, and then I build based around that. So I like to learn about people's their process, kind of like their approach to music. And I'm wide open. Like if you look at my playlist, it's like anything from like classical music, like I'll have like Mozart to like
Right.
gangster rap to like electronic music to
super
indie
eclectic.
to funk. Yeah. Well, funk is like really
That's the
special.
one for you. Okay.
I love funk music so much. I also really like jazz and blues and rock, but yeah, I'm open. Like music is a whole universe. So
I appreciate you sharing that, because I wouldn't have. I was kind of thinking in my head, like, I wonder what kind of music she likes, and I couldn't. I guess I was judging. You know how we look at someone and we
Yeah.
go, you know, that's a punker, that's a rocker, that's a classical. So, you know, I couldn't figure that out about you. So
if it's good, I like it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I can find artists in any genre. I guess if you're being honest, like if you're being authentic, like authentically yourself in your music, that's what I'm most drawn
Right
to.
on.
Yeah.
Right on. When you're not following your passion here, I guess we would call that, and mouthpiecing it,
I am a mouthpiece.
mouthpiecing it together. You're a mom. You've got a daughter, right?
Yeah, I got Callie. She's 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
And
is nuts.
She keeps. I was like crazy busy, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, she's kind of like at that age now where well, she's got her own interests now. She doesn't depend on me as much, but she's an extrovert. So I know I'm like out there in the public, but I'm actually introverted.
Right.
Like I recharge by like, okay, close the door, like be by myself.
Leave me
like
alone.
that's how I re-energize, I guess. But my daughter's like, look at me, like I want the attention. I want I want all eyes on me. I want to be around people all the time. She writes little skits.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and she's good. Cool. She's got this character named Young Karen. So so it's like, you know the Karen that's always complaining.
Right.
So she has this version of Karen but as a child, and she'll like she'll write her little script, she'll like tell me where to stand, she'll write me lines, she'll bust out the door and she'll be like, my fur babies and I are just like really upset about the fireworks, and but like at 9, like she's her social commentary is just.
She needs a YouTube channel like Mom.
I think so.
Start those reels.
Yeah. She is hilarious and loves to perform.
Well, hey, there you go. Why not let it? There's that expression you were talking about too, right? Talk about, okay, Callie's 9 years old, a 9-year-old, and social media. I mean, I'm guessing like she doesn't have a Facebook or anything like that right now.
No, she doesn't have her own
but
account.
It's still around when she goes to school probably or wherever else. How do you, is it difficult to monitor that?
Well, she's not able to create or post anything on her own, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'll share like little stuff on my personal page for like friends and stuff, but it's a lot.
It's a chore, right?
It's a lot. Like there is so much on the internet that kids should not be exposed to. Mm-hmm. I am the mom that goes through the history.
Good for you.
And you know what I mean?
Good for you.
So I am aware. She knows like the specific YouTubers she's allowed to watch, the specific stuff on Netflix. But you hear stories, there's a lot of bad people, and the internet's a way for them to. I don't, you know what I'm,
connect.
I get it. At. It's gut wrenching thinking about that stuff.
Absolutely.
Like,
I mean,
like
it was always around, even pre-internet, but now it's just more connected because the internet does that.
Yeah, and children are so innocent. Like they're not. They don't know. Like they don't know about the bad, right?
And is it a conversation like when I was younger? It was. Well, when I was a teenager, it was say no to drugs, right? The Reagans when they were in politics.
Yeah,
say
the
no
war
to
on drugs. I'd like to thank drugs for winning the war on drugs, actually.
Right. Smoking and all that. Don't smoke. And those were conversations that I think parents had. But now, this is another conversation that we got to have with our children, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's. My kids are grown, but I still look around and I go, wow, like what the, right?
Well, even you hear those stories too, like when we were kids, if we're getting bullied or there was something going on, okay, it happens at recess and you go home and then it's over.
Pretty much.
But in the world now, it's constant. It's all over. It's 24/7 on the internet. They can like instant and 24/7. So that's gotta be rough. Thankfully, my daughter's not experienced that specifically right now. But I know that there's a lot of kids that do.
And she's still just 9, right? I mean, she's going to grow into that. I mean, who knows what the technology will be when she's 12?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a few years away, but it'll be here before you know it.
Yeah. Ever changing and fast.
Right.
Like fast changes. Yeah.
What does Callie teach you?
Oh my God. Her approach to life, like, she's just the sweetest. Like, she's so curious. She's so sweet. She's got a huge heart. What else does Callie teach me? She kind of like reminds me about the importance of really just being yourself. I don't know if that sounds like cheesy or cliche.
No, not at all.
But she's so authentically her, and she knows it. Like, she's like, I'm Callie. There's nobody else like me. And I think that's pretty special because
absolutely,
there's nobody else like you. There's nobody else like me.
Yeah, right.
So it's just kind of that.
And it's okay to be different, right? Isn't it? Like,
yeah. Just being like, again, I sound very cliche right now, but I am serious. Like, being authentically yourself, like that's the most freedom you can ever have.
Why is that so hard to do in our society? Or would you agree that it's hard to be authentic?
I think people fear judgment. You know, they fear judgment. A lot of people, you don't really think about this when you're young, but a lot of people have a lot of trauma. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of you know, just unhealed parts of the self that people want to kind of like put in a box. I think the fear of judgment is a really big one. People want to be accepted. People want to be seen in a good light, and I think that's normal. You know, like we all want to love and be loved.
We all want to be accepted into the cool kid group or whatever,
or just you want to be
on the team, or
nobody's like, oh, I hope everybody thinks I suck. Like nobody thinks that way, right? So I think a lot of it comes down to fear. Either you make decisions out of love or you make decisions out of fear, and sometimes fear wins.
And I don't know that ever really goes away. Like, I will say to you, as someone who's now an interviewer, and you're becoming experienced at that thing of being the interviewer, right? It's weird for me to say, but sometimes, like, do you ever think about, I'd like to put this in the interview, but somebody out there might be offended, or that's not quite part of my brain. Do you think about that stuff when you're editing the video or having a conversation?
You know what? When I was more involved in politics, I was a lot more conscious of that because people were mean. Like, people were mean, and there was
like comments and
I won't say names. No, I won't get into specifics.
No,
but
I mean,
but it's very stressful.
Yeah,
like
right?
it's very, very stressful. So I think that I was more conscious about that then. It's also intimidating because, who was I? I was some single mom. I didn't have a pot to piss in, and it's these. Right. You know, they've got money, they've got power, they've got status, they've got all this stuff, and I just show up like.
Who are you to ask the questions?
Right. So I was conscious of it. I was conscious of it, but I don't think that it. I didn't let it censor me as much as most. But that being said, I've always kind of been a little bit. I don't know if you're allowed to swear on this, but. Fresh out of Fox, like you can think what you want to think. I know who I am.
Right.
You know, stuff with Moutpiece, I find it really is just authentic. Like that's what the whole thing's about.
Yeah. Is
authenticity and
hard to do sometimes, you know, right? Like, I can tell you that I, as an interviewer, like, I think you'll always experience that. Oh, should I have said that, or did I something? I still wonder sometimes here, and I've even looked at like, well, maybe I do a different show. Maybe I do it something like this, and then my wife's like, "Whoa, easy, boy," right? And I'm like, and she's like, "Yeah, but that doesn't have to be your show. It doesn't have to be. You can think that that's between her and I, or friends, or whatever, but it doesn't have to be what's necessarily put out there." I've done some political stuff. When there was, not this last one, but the one before, there was an election, and I was set up down at City Hall, and I had done some interviews with past councillors that weren't running, and, it was like, and I was nervous about it. Because, I also felt too, like, well, who am I? I'm no political expert, but you don't have to be the expert. You surround yourself with the experts. And you're just the messenger, right? But like you said earlier too, but they still want to kill the messenger.
They want to shoot the messenger, yeah. Which, I mean, I think a lot of people, I don't know, again, how deep do you want to go? It's like a lot of our experience, I guess, as humans, it's either projection, like you're projecting stuff, or like deflection and reflection. Like you want to... You know what I mean?
We want well, and he goes back to that. We all want to be liked, But I saw a reel actually just before I came here, and it was for those people who have decided they don't like you without hearing your side of the story. Screw them. Like, who cares, right? I say it a lot too. I'm like, well, who cares? Like, if you don't like me, I mean, that's really your problem, and it's none of my business what you say about me. But we can say those philosophies. But it still hurts, doesn't it?
Well, I mean, I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
I'm a poet. Like, I'm sensitive, but I think people can only meet you as deeply as they've met themselves. So a lot of times you can kind of, it's like, consider the source. You know what I mean? Like, consider the source.
Look where that's coming from. Okay.
Yeah. And typically people who are... grounded and kind of okay with who they are within themselves, they're not talking shit about other people. They're not, so it's like if you're perpetually bringing people down, there's probably some inner work you might want to do.
Probably. Work on that yourself usually.
Yeah. So just trying to take it personally.
The bully's having a hard time. That person's having their own struggles, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all do, right? And we don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on in your head, and you don't know what's going on in mine and anybody else, right? Or what they dealt with that day or the night before, that kind of thing. But I've been doing this with all my interviews lately, Katie. How was COVID for you?
Oh my gosh!
It was that, eh?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it was nuts. It was nuts. It was like. All of a sudden, nobody knows what's real anymore, and there is a line drawn in the sand, and how quickly people turned on each other. Right. Well, you kind of segued to my next question. Did it divide many of us? I believe it divided a lot of people, yep. Yeah. Yep. Did you experience thoughts from people that you've maybe known a long time? Maybe they were close friends, and that's changed because of COVID, like in opinions, etc. Yeah. Yeah. No. Like. Yeah. Fair, right? Like I remember we saw people like, really, that person thinks that way, and it's just like, wow. Yeah. Yeah. Some people surprise me. I find like I'm not really that much of a judgmental person. Like I'm pretty accepting. I'm pretty open. Yeah. Whatever side you're on, whatever you think. Yep. Like people are allowed to think their own thoughts, right? Absolutely. But kind of it's maybe like a combination of the fear, and there was a lot of push from media to have hate for people who didn't maybe didn't lean a certain way, and I I don't know. I'm trying to choose my words carefully here. I will just say yes. Some things surprised me, and there was a lot of nastiness that came out of that. Yeah, a lot of like isolation too, of course, like with the lockdowns. That was hard, not seeing friends and family and just stay home.
But thank goodness we actually had technology like FaceTime and Messenger. Can you imagine if it happened in no technology time?
Yeah.
You know, or didn't have that type of technology to be able to communicate. I think one of the reasons I was asking that question when I thought of it was, you're talking about your daughter Callie. I mean, she's 9 now, but when that first hit, I mean, that was 3 years ago. So she was quite a bit younger. She was like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I remember Jennifer and I saying, boy, I'm ever glad we don't have young children, because I don't know how I would have handled that. Was that part of the struggle for you and all of that too?
Yeah. I'm not so it's just been Callie and I, and that's it for 10 years. Like it's been just me and Callie. So we probably have a little bit different of a relationship. Like we're very close, her and I. And when this all started going on in the online school, and she's, 6 years old, can't sit still, like upside down, like taking the cat, like going like this and the thing. I'm like, okay, like you gotta listen to your teacher. And then I tried for a couple days, and I'm like, you know what? You want to just learn how to break dance? So we just we didn't even really do online school for the first bit, because she was like, I can't
sit still.
No, and she's 6. She's 6 years old, and those poor teachers trying to entertain or keep the attention of all these little kids on screens where their parents are not able to pay attention because they're trying to work. I was working at John Howard Society at the time, so I'm doing all my stuff online, and
or they're helping another kid in the home, or
So I just said
I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I just said, you know what, man, let's just learn how to break dance, learn how to beatbox, learn how to paint.
Break dance. That's awesome.
Yeah. She was ripping the breakdancing videos for a while, which was cool. And then, but I just thought to myself, all the kids are going to be behind. I don't, maybe this is bad. I'm feeling did I make the right choice? But I didn't want her to suffer. And she was suffering. Online school was horrible. Yeah. So I was like, well.
So you adapted and you took your creative side that we've talked about, and
just do art education.
How cool would that be? I mean, obviously I can't break dance, but I remember in the '80s when I was in high school. Oh, I just revealed my age there, but we went to the movie theater to watch Breakin'. Wow. There was a movie, and there's movies about breakdancing, and that was Grandmaster Flash and all those. So to be able to, what were there any positives though that came out of the COVID thing?
I think we were really forced to go inside of ourselves, not just our homes. We were really forced to take a good, long, hard look at ourselves, and that was great. Yeah. For me, I was I know exactly who I am, and what I want to do.
Yeah.
So that's a positive.
A time of discovery for you then?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. What else are you gonna do?
I guess
you got to go inside.
You got to do something.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I always say it was an opportunity for us to learn to adapt. Even schools I know at the college, there were many people that were still already learning how to use email. Never mind, what do you mean I got to go online and sit in front of a camera? So we were forced to learn some things that we maybe knew existed, but we were like, yeah, but I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
right?
That's true.
So we were kind of forced in that corner. And to be creative, again, you as a mother going, you know what? Let's just learn to break dance.
Yeah.
Or let's, whatever. That's so cool, right? So
photography too.
Is that right?
Yeah, we would go for walks, and I'd give her a camera and just...
Nice.
Yeah, so that was cool, watching kind of the world through the eyes of a 6-year-old. Because you go back and you see what she thought was interesting enough to take a photo of.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was Katie Horvath like at 6 years old?
Shy.
Is that right?
Yeah. I've actually always been kind of shy, like I said, introverted. All the talking, those are all learned skills. You know what I mean? Yeah. I was shy. Interested in poetry, oddly enough. Even at that age. I've always just been like art minded, I guess. What grade would I have been in? That's what, grade 1?
Yep.
I think I had a boyfriend named Terry Bodwin. We used to hold hands.
So you weren't that shy.
He came on to me.
Right. That's cool. What going through all of that? What was public school like for you? Did you enjoy it?
I was kind of indifferent to school. Like school, I have a pretty good memory, so I'm able to like memorize stuff pretty easily. So that's why school was easy. But I don't like the system.
Right? No, hey, fair enough. What don't you like about it?
Sorry. I think, and it is getting better now. Like there's, and don't get me wrong, there's some incredible teachers, like people on the front lines, hearts of gold. They really care about the kids. But the system in general, I think it kind of only rewards a certain type of intelligence. It doesn't really go into creativity or critical thought or your ability to kind of see beyond what's being presented to you. It's like, can you read this? Can you regurgitate that? And if you can do that, then you're smart. And it's like, but is that intelligence though?
Yeah.
So that was kind of my
thoughts. Would it be fair to maybe help you with this? Things are only taught one way, but we all learn differently.
Yeah.
So if you're not that one way that's being taught, you're going to struggle.
Yeah. I think that's fair. And there's a lot of moving pieces as well. Like if you just look at the classroom in general, you've got one teacher, anywhere from 20 to 32 kids. Behaviors these days, like it used to be.
Oh yeah.
It used to be you'd have a couple kids who had like maybe quote unquote behavioral issues and that was it. But now it's, sometimes half the class has behaviors suffering from some mental illness, anxiety, depression. That's huge now. ADHD is huge. So you've got these teachers who are just trying to teach their curriculum, but they're also social worker, they're also nurse, they're also,
and maybe don't know or aren't qualified in all those areas.
Yeah, and they just keep cutting funding, so they need more EAs in the classrooms to help with some of these kids that learn differently.
Yep.
And I don't know. I just want to be free. So always the concept of sit down, shut up was never my thing.
I hear you.
Yeah, I used to get kicked out of class, but now I get paid to talk.
Right. And moving into high school, was that a similar experience?
High school I liked a little bit more. I had good friends in high school, so that was good. And it was kind of, I didn't mind high school. High school was fun. I was exposed to a little bit more stuff, more art, more music. Got into drama class and that kind of stuff. And I used to hang out with, I don't know if you know these guys, Darren Dowell, Dev Star, Greg Abrams. They were all musicians, so we just I'd go watch them jam, skip school, yeah, and kind of...
They can't come back at you, don't worry.
Yeah. I've already graduated.
Right.
Yeah, but high school was all right. I didn't have too many issues in high school. And I played a lot of basketball too, which is funny.
Oh, right.
I was a big baller.
Were you good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, I was. I didn't know it at the time. Self-esteem was never high for me.
Okay.
Self-respect I have, but self-esteem I was always no, I suck at everything. But looking back, it's yeah, I was good.
I was good at that.
Yeah.
And now, and then you went into post-secondary as well?
Yeah, then I studied psychology at the University of Ottawa. That's also when I really started exploring spirituality and different paths. So it's you have the classes you have to take for your degree, and then you've got all your electives. So a couple electives every semester that you can take. And I'd study Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, mystic Christianity, the occult, everything, every, I don't know, spiritual path, I guess. yeah, so that was really cool. And then moved back to Sarnia. I got a job at Stitches, which you don't need a degree for to fold t-shirts. Then I left. I went backpacking. I was like, I fell in love with Banff, and I was going to move there.
Oh, yeah. I've never been there.
Oh, my God.
I want to ride the bike out there.
I was just like sobbing. I'm like, it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then I came back, and I was going to sell my stuff and move there. But then I got pregnant. So I was like, I guess I'll stay in Sarnia.
Right.
Then I went to Lambton. Then I took social service and recreation therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're just an eclectic soul, really.
I think
no,
so,
that's a compliment. I mean, some people can really just get set on, I'm just this, and that's it, and then the blinders go on, right? And it's like there's so much else around. Like, I feel like you're constantly looking around and going, what's around? Where am I? Who am I with? What am I going to do next? Like, do you have a plan? Or do you just do?
That's a good question too. Yeah, I think like I was kind of raised to like have a plan, have a path. Like this is, but that was like square peg round hole. Right. Like I tried and I tried and I tried, but it's not.
You don't have anything written down?
I've got a ton of things written down, but no, I just I like to explore, and I'm a follow my heart kind of person. Yeah. Like if I'm being called, then that's what I listen to. Like I said, like money's not my God. It's not like I
you needed to live, but
I've always worked. Like I've always made enough to pay the bills, and now of course with Callie, like to make sure that she's good. But I just life is for living. You know what I mean?
Do you know where you want to be when you're 50? Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, I'd like to, do you have a timeline to any of your goals, or do you just go, well, I'd like to get to this, or I'd like to get to that?
I really would like to build the infrastructure for, like Moutpiece is really, I'm serious about that. Yep. Like I'm very serious about that. My career, like what I went to school for and stuff, my whole thing was I wanted to bring art and music to the mental health and addiction world.
Yep. I think it's a great idea.
Unfortunately, you're in the system now, right? So they've got their specific funding, their specific ways, which I get. Like I'm not knocking that field. Like they do
to try to enhance it.
But I would, but I think I've just come to the conclusion, like, I think I just am kind of paving my own way. So I do work with people, like, on the side. Privately, I show some youth songwriting as therapy.
Oh, yeah, nice.
Yeah, which is... oh, man, Dave, I love music so much. Like, I'm telling you, it's transformative. But to answer your question, I think now I'm a little bit more clear on the direction I kind of want to go, and really, it's still music, it's still art, but now I've just combined that with media, and I genuinely would like to build the infrastructure to have a consistent monthly magazine, and be amplifying the voices of creators and culture creators, and those that live the path of the heart.
Yeah. I can't wait to come back to you and see where you're at, maybe even 10 years from now with this project. Because, I feel your pain, so to speak. I feel, and
it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it is.
But it's so worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rewarding, right?
Oh, yeah. I get to, and you do too. Yeah. You just get to hear the coolest stories, interact with such interesting people.
Yeah.
I love people.
I do too.
Yeah.
I, even the ones I don't like.
Same. I still kind of like you.
So, there is something I see in there, and I've always said I believe that there's greatness in everyone, and sometimes it's a little harder to find it in others, but we all have something somewhere, and maybe we don't even realize it ourselves sometimes.
Yeah.
What that greatness is.
Yeah.
Is are our young people, like, you talk about Callie and she's 9, and but then we'll go into, like, do you see other children around, obviously with school, but maybe teenagers and 20-year-olds, are they going to be okay?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think they are going to be okay, because I know stuff is hard, like this next generation that's coming up.
It always has been hard.
I know it's rough, and every generation has their stuff, but the human spirit, man, like, you cannot quell the human spirit. Yeah. I think they're going to be all right.
I think you're going to be awesome, because your human spirit is so strong. I know, like, even from the moment I walked into your home, you were there was a vibe that came off of you that said, welcome. And thanks for being here. There was just everything positive about it. And we haven't seen each other in person in a long time.
It's been a while.
Right?
It's been a few years, yeah.
And I was looking at that interview a while back. It's like, wow, so much change. Both of us, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm anxious to see. I'm anxious to see you go through this, meaning I want to see, and I have a feeling we'll have some more conversations, like, reach out to me anytime if you got questions, or I'm going to be like, so how's it going? Or, what are you experiencing? Because as the interviewer, at least for me, it's been just this amazing journey that I don't even know where it's going.
I know, like, exciting,
it is, right? Yeah. Like, what's next, right? Because well, that's why I asked you that question. It's like, you have a path that you're like, okay, I want to go here. I mean, you should have goals, right? But you don't always know, like, there's obstacles and construction along the way, and you got to find a different route, and getting there is still, it can be so much fun, right? And you're doing what you love.
I just know that I want to make a living doing what I love. Like, that's...
Is that I have someone that I follow online. Her name's Ashley. And she made the comment a while back. It's like, we have this feeling inside of like we're not supposed to be happy doing a job. Like, we're supposed to just go to work, get a good job, blah, blah, blah. And that's how it is.
Yeah, I think.
Do we feel guilty making money doing something we love? I mean, I don't.
I think that is. I think you're right that is the messaging.
Yeah, that's how it's a good way to put that. Yeah.
But I think that's propaganda.
Yeah.
I do. Like,
go to school, get good grades, get a good job, live happily ever after.
Yeah, but, like, can you name one person, any one person in the entire world that has not had struggles, that is not, like, life isn't
right?
The movies, you know what I mean? And I think we all do have an internal guidance system. Like, I do think that, like, you can call it your consciousness, you can some people say it's Jesus. Like, you can, whatever language or dictionary you use to explain it, but we all have that inside of us.
Yep.
And I think that is the point, is to follow that. Actually, it was put to me called Chasing the Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And it was an interview I did with Matt Delaroche, and he said he heard about it in this, there's this rapper, the Koreatown Oddity. Okay. And he wrote this song, and it was kind of like a dialogue between him and, like, a paternal figure. And he's saying, like, what's the point of life kind of deal? And he's like, well, like, as long as I have money in the bank and, a little bit left over to buy some weed, and, like, life's good. and then he says, no, like, it's about chasing the spirit. And I think that's what you got to do.
Right. I think that's what you're doing, Katie.
I got it.
You got it.
I tried the other way, and I was getting sick. Yeah.
Good for you. Thank you so much for, again, having me in your home here. It's a lovely home, by the way. And you're awesome. And
you're awesome, too.
Well, I'm so glad we've reconnected. Let's not allow that gap, like, to happen again. Let's keep staying in touch and maybe help each other.
For sure.
I don't know why.
For
Maybe
sure.
we could. There's something we could do together.
I'm down. I'm down for collaboration, and let's go. Let's ascend.
Right on.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. I know you're going to click the like and the love button, but I say it every time. Please click the share button so we can share Katie's story and all the people that I interview for others to enjoy as well. But for now, that's all the time I got for you this week. Have a great week and an even better weekend. We'll see you next time right here on the show. Bye for now. Awesome.
Wow.